there. Good evening and welcome. It's so amazing to be able to share Wednesday evening with you like we always do. We thank God for life and for grace and for blessings. My name is Anima Animado and this is Strong and Sassy. We're on till 8 o'clock. So first of all, let me apologize. Like I told Emma Fine Evans earlier, we were planning to continue our show on plastic surgery, but at the very last minute, we had a cancellation from our guests who had an emergency, and so we just kind of had to regroup. But like I always say, everything that God does is good because we're celebrating fathers, and we thought that we should plug in and do the needful as well. So tonight, I'll be joined by Isinam and Aram, who have agreed to interrupt their lives to be here to share their stories. And we'll talk about that. As a woman, how much of an impact has your father made on you? How much of who he is or who he was has contributed into you becoming who you are? So I'd love to hear those stories from you. Our phone lines are open, 0302216541. 0302216541. Our WhatsApp lines are open as well. 055-1111-997, 055-1111-997, and our phone lines 0302216541. I want to know about your dad, how he impacted your life. So I'm gonna start by sharing one of my favorite stories about my dad. I lost him 2 years ago. This past Saturday was 2 years since he died. But one of my favorite stories that really stayed with me was there was this one day I was about 7 or 8, and he and I had gone to the old Shangri-La to buy ice cream. And when we got there, I couldn't decide which flavor to buy. So I was kind of going back and forth. So he picked the flavors for me and I started to cry. And so he chose another set of flavors for me and I said it was fine. And we sat in the car. And then I started to cry again because I was like, okay, I don't know what I want, all of that. And he was just like so tired and so upset. He drove me straight to the police station. There's a police station around Shangri-La. He drove me straight there and took me to the policewoman and said, you know what, I'm tired. My daughter is stressing me out, so you can keep her here. And then obviously I started screaming even more. And he didn't leave me there. But as we were driving away, he said to me that as you grow up and in life, you're going to have to be decisive. Because when you are not decisive, you either lose whatever opportunities in front of you, and then if you're not lucky, you can actually not just lose the opportunity, but then you can actually pay a price then for not being decisive. Because that day I walked away without any ice cream and the memory of a police station. That's one of my favorite memories of my dad. And it really fed into my ability to just be able to make decisions, decide what I want and do it. So that's my bit. I'd love to hear yours. Your favorite memory of your dad, or if he's alive, or if not, also how much he impacted you. And also stepfathers, single fathers, those who stepped in to play a role, and all of that. I just really love to hear. Let's have like an emotional strongest. We are hard girls. But I think tonight we want to have, an emotional, strong and sassy and kind of just enjoy the role our fathers played in our lives. So like I said, phone lines are open, 0302216541. WhatsApp is also open, 055-1111-997. So our guests will be joining us very soon. Until then, we'll be right back. Okay, yeah, we're back. Hi, hello. This is Strong and Sassy. Gosh, what an evening it's been. Hello, Aram and Esinam.
Hi.
So I called her Depatsu. She said she was already home and bathing for the children.
Oh,
So she wasn't going to be able to come. But this is like a family reunion.
Exactly.
We haven't
Impromptu
been
family
together
reunion.
for-
I know.
Aren't they the best though? But thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And Aaron for sitting in for me a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
You always come through. So really grateful. So fathers, we're talking about fathers.
Yeah.
I hear Adam was telling me just a little bit. She didn't tell me too much about your dad.
Yes. So I think I'm one of those people that has been so fortunate. I've had two great dads in one lifetime. And I mean, coincidentally, this Saturday was 23 years since my dad passed.
Wow.
My biological father.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And so it's every time Father's Day is around the corner.
On Saturday, did you
This
say?
Saturday that passed.
Oh, that was my dad's 2 years as well. So they died on the same day.
Yeah, so that was 23 years.
23
And
years ago. How old
Yeah.
are you?
I was 9.
Oh, young.
Yeah,
Young,
young.
but old enough to know him.
No, I mean, and so sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, I always think like, what would my life have been? Exactly. So that's the thing. But then I have my stepdad who is amazing. I think my mom has a sauce. She needs to show me. Like
she needs to,
Yes,
like
the
reveal
she,
the
like
series.
she needs to. If she had a superpower, it's speaking women.
Oh,
Reveal
wow.
the
No, but
secrets.
that's amazing though.
Yeah.
So, what are your like fondest memories of your biological dad?
Oh my God. So he used to park his car outside his office. So when I come and I'll press the bell and announce that I have arrived, and then he has this thing where there's this chocolate bar that I used to like, and he gives me money for it every day. Even when he's traveling, he'll give, if he's going away for like 10 days, he'll give my mom, like if it's 10 days and it's 10 cities, so like 100 cities, to make sure that I always get it.
Gets it every day.
And the only, and some of the things was that even though he was a very busy guy, he always made time. Even though I know my mom forces him to make time,
Of
but
course.
like he always made time, make sure that like we get to school. He came to my school one time, but he couldn't see us.
Was that the time that you went to beat the boy?
No. Oh, Dad. Oh, anymore. Oh, and my dad used to save me from my mom though, because my mom was
Stubborn, Adam. Aram, dear, stubborn.
I mean, I remember that incident with when I beat the girl, and it was a whole thing. It was my dad who was like media, because my mom just wanted to kill me.
Stubborn.
But my dad was begging for me. So my dad, he was always doing me a solid all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like super, super, super great memories of him, like no cap. And so, I mean, the only sad thing was for me is my little sister was 4, so she didn't get to like experience him in that way. So she always come to me and ask me about him, and she did something really nice to try and remember him. She got a tattoo of something about him just so she can. So like, yeah, so she missed out, but I mean, I have like super, super.
You
super
have good memories.
great memories of him.
So how long were you without a father figure?
That's quite maybe like 8.
About 8 years.
About 8. About 8 years or or less before my mom remarried.
So the first time you met your stepfather, what did you think?
So I met him in person in 2011.
Okay.
But I think they had been married for probably a year or 2 before then, and I'd gone to see them because they live in France. So I met him, and I think it was more of like his reception. And before then, my mom tried to integrate us, so like we'll speak on the phone. But then the amazing thing about him was that he came on board fully, because my mom had 5 kids. Yeah. And then he came with his full chest and then adopted all of us. 5. And this was a man who I'm hearing, like after the family kind of sort of blended, is someone that no one thought would ever get married.
So you went from I won't marry to I'm married with 5 instant children.
Wow.
Exactly.
By force.
Yeah. Like, and so I was hearing this from his brother's wife. It's like, do you know that he used to just wear like different matching socks? Like the guy his life was basa before he met your mom.
Wow.
you know.
And then 5 kids.
And then 5 kids inherited. My sister moved to Europe and is French citizen. Like, he really, so I think it was more of not me, how I felt towards him, but like, he came, he was present.
He just act like it's
And I'm
probably,
yeah.
So it wasn't a choice. There was
Exactly.
no option.
And
It was
I
like,
get also from the fact that, I mean, I'm having a conversation with my mom and she's like, it was more of less the orientation that he gave him, that if you're going to be with me, this is the package.
Yeah.
I have 5 kids.
Yeah.
And we are a total package.
I mean, if she had one, just you, even that would need weeks of orientation.
Exactly.
Then 5.
So I'm sure
Wow.
she probably had the conversation with the big guy out there who had the conversation. It was a whole
heavenly Mary then Joseph situation.
It was a whole heavenly production. So it was more of him. So you know how I mean, these days the Gen Zs will say matching energies, kind of, sort of. So it was more like the environment that he created that made it easy for me, my sister, then the rest of us. And it's been like...
It sounds amazing.
It does.
It sounds amazing.
It does.
Do you have bad times?
Of him?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, none, because he's always been full, like, he's been a hands-on dad. Like, he's show up to your school, come over for weekends. I remember recently when I was away in Europe, I spent the first quarter of the year, and he comes to pick me up from the train station and brings me home, like, do you want to go out for lunch? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go to have lunch. Like, and probably because he doesn't have his own kids, so we are his kids. So he's like a parent, and so there's been no bad times, been how many years now and counting. So
it's a lot.
It's like easy breezy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come back to you and find out the ways in which he has shaped who you've become as a woman, and the kind of husband that then you're looking for. Because they say we marry men who are like our fathers.
Yeah.
I know about that.
But because my own is like this. Because the men that have been in my life. No, I mean like the kind of husband, no, the skill is here. So nejuma no there.
That's what.
Yeah.
Esinam.
Yes, ma.
So what were your early years like with your dad?
For my dad, I think that the first revelation of the idea of support, who a supportive person is, or what support means, is what my dad showed me in my very early years, because I discovered I could sing when I was probably like 5 or less. So he would take me to churches to go and perform. He'd take me to the National Theatre to go and perform. If my mother was against any performance I had to do, he would go and buy the uniform for me to wear.
Wow.
And on the performance day, he would take me there. Even in school, right? I remember every theatre production I was in, he would come.
Wow.
And he would be there 10 minutes before time. And he would sit in front. And he's watching you. So my father taught me support. That's number one. And he also, showed me what it means when somebody says that I have your back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there for you. Whatever it is, you can call on me and I'll be there and I'll help you out. And he believed in me. He believes in my talent. Is it like not as a musician per se, but as an individual who is just talented. My father made me get in touch with that side of myself. I think that I was free to, go into the arts and fully open up because of that foundation that he gave me. Even though at some point he was like, go get a job.
Yeah.
At some point he was like, go get a job and, leave this theater. It doesn't pay, blah, blah, blah. And he's right to an extent. But... And I think that derailed me from the arts a bit, but I'm back. And even from going to whatever side that I went to gather experience to bring to the arts, and I'm doing the arts in a different way now. So I think that my father contributed significantly to my career path, who I am as an individual, in terms of what I like to do, what I don't like to do, what job I'm doing, whatever. I think my father was significant in that part. My father and I, there were so many fond memories. My father is a very calculative person. Like, he is the type of person who say minimum wage is 3 cedis. So I will give you 3 cedis, 70 pesos for school.
Wow.
Like, when I was in class 2, I was going to school with 1,007. Now 17 pesos.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Money to the
He
T.
will calculate everything. You know, like he did commerce in school. He'll tell you I did commerce and accounting. He will calculate everything. Hey, you are there.
Management.
And he will manage everything. Everything. I grew up with him, so I got used to him and how he did his stuff. There were a few like lopsides here and there. Like, my father would literally go and lock the TV up and say nobody should watch TV.
Wow.
Yeah, I know probably he thought he was protecting us, but for somebody like me, TV and content shaped who I am to an extent, like what I know about the arts and more things, because I didn't have to go to school for that.
So
TV and content was like, you know, watching media, watching the news, watching how people appeared. And like, I was coming here, I was remembering all the times my father would put money in envelope and write on it part payments for Benis Batali school fees.
Wow.
Like, I'm saying, anyone, that's the type of person he is. If you see his trousers, the line can cut you
straight.
It can cut you. That's the kind of person he is. Don't touch anything of mine, because when you touch it, you will shift it, and I don't like it shifted.
Yeah.
I like a certain type of way. So the rebellion part of me didn't take that.
Okay.
So I sort of became, I wanted to defy him for most of the time. I'm a stubborn person. So I wanted to defy him most of the time. So I think subconsciously I became the opposite. But yeah, I think that having my father in my life is significant to who I am.
I think one of the things that, you're talking about defying your dad and stuff, and one of my favorite things about my dad was when he got upset and he was yelling at me, he would get more upset if I couldn't find the courage to argue back. So in the middle of him telling me off, he's like, you don't have a point. You don't have a reason for what you did. Like, what you did was dumb.
Make it make sense.
But yeah. So I learned to have a reason and be able to speak back. And I think that that's something quite unique that a father does for his daughter, is that impartation of it's okay to speak back to the patriarchy.
Yeah.
The almighty patriarchy.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to...
Do you get what I mean?
I completely... Yeah.
Like,
then that will make all of us on the same vein in terms of
Yeah.
how, because our fathers influence.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think how I turned out, even my mindset concerning marriage and even relationships and all that is because of what I saw at home. And for me, I wanted so many parts of him in my partner. But I also didn't like some parts of him that I didn't want.
No one is perfect,
I didn't want in my partner, you know. But it turns out that they're a lot more similar
than
I like.
Okay. Well, there you go then.
There you go. You
so
married your dad.
subconsciously you picked.
No, to an extent, because you see, they are similar in their approach to things. The fact that they listen, they are open-minded. They will hear you, what you have to say. You know, then and he's open to having a conversation and arguing about things till you get to the end point. But that same side is the very argumentative side that doesn't back down in any argument and must win and must be right. You know, and there's that part to that I don't like. So it's the same features of the product, but they are double-edged sword.
I completely get that, and I think that's the thing about our dads, right? My sister was sharing with me, Aram, I'll come to you next, but my sister was sharing with me something that my dad did, and I think that's by far my most favorite memory now, even though it's not my memory. So she has high blood pressure. She's in her 40s, so this was maybe 5-6 years ago. She has high blood pressure and diabetes. And so did he. And so the doctor said, look, you're going to have to stop drinking beer. Like you're just gonna have to stop. And she smoked sometimes, and you're gonna have to stop smoking as well. This is my stepsister. And she came home and she was like, okay, this is a bit of a lifestyle. My dad was like, no. The doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. So he nudged this woman to the doctor.
Back to the doctor.
Said, look, there's medication for this and this and this. Like, how do you want her to socialize? Like, she shouldn't have a life anymore because she's sick. Like, who does that? But then that's just, like, that's just him. I remember him pulling up to Wesley Girls to tell the headmistress that he's tired of me. He doesn't know how to raise me. So it's either they raise me in the school or he's done.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, good evening, Mrs. Nancy Thompson. I'm sure she was traumatized. Like, who is this? Like, why? And he'll pull up in his orange 504.
So stubborn.
And like he's like, I can't do it anymore. It's either Wesley Girls is going to change her or me as a father. I've closed. Like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
You are very
I mean,
stubborn.
my dad used to chase. So it's not my memory, but it's my big sister. So like my big sister is the firstborn. So like she was nice. Boys was chasing her, everything. Somebody was talking to my sister under this man's wall. It's just boy mother.
Oh,
wow.
Yo, my dad. And then my sister used to be stubborn. So those times movie houses,
Hey.
and then they'll be putting the cassette and they'll put the Van Damme on the thing. Those places in the night they show. My sister will be wandering. My dad would follow into the movie house, go and drag her. And then the worst one, she used to use me as the cover up, like,
Yeah, alibi.
Dad, I'm going to take Aram to go to this place.
No, it's a lie.
One day she took me to
oh,
jam
lie.
at some secondary school, and she let me at the gate.
Hey.
And she entered because they won't let me enter.
Wow.
My father came, I was standing there. What is sister? I said she's inside. The shit that he wants to do them
Inside the club.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
That's funny. That's so hectic. That's so hectic.
All the hectic children to deal with.
That's so hectic. But I just remembered from Aram's story when my dad died, my friends were reminding me at his funeral that so we had just moved to East Legon and boys will come and visit and stuff. And there was one night I was standing at the gates chatting with the boys. And he was calling me and I was doing like I did here. The next day I had po. One shot.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Scatty. Like that was the end of the boy.
Nobody was Dr.
I'm telling you, for like 5 years I couldn't get a boyfriend.
Me, the area boys found the mom they know because the area I was growing up, I knew I didn't want a boy there.
Oh my
But
God.
this was East Legon,
Of
the
course.
beginnings.
Of course, yo,
I mean, can you
your
imagine
life.
po? Like you're like, dude, chill. It's not that deep. But I mean, I lived with just him at the time, so I guess he really felt responsible. Now that I'm a parent, you feel so responsible. It's like, look, it's either I get this right,
Oh yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Aram, tell me, how much of your dad are you looking for in a partner?
Oh my God. I think I was just having a conversation with someone, and that thing about people, like women looking for their father in men,
Subconsciously or
it's
consciously?
actually so true. For me, it's so bad because now I'm realizing that one of my pet peeves is people who can't keep their word. Because I've been raised and I'm being raised by men who kept their word, especially with my step.
It becomes
So
a problem.
they're giving you high standards,
standards. It's
and
really
you know
becomes a problem.
and international high standards, and
also there's
come
international.
vis-a-vis Ghanaian men, and where the bar is under the ground.
Wow.
Oh.
It's
the
so
bar is where?
Under the ground.
It's crazy, and like the standard, like so I'm like people who can keep there, because my dad is, if he says I'm gonna be here, he's gonna be there.
Yep.
Unless like if he can't be there, he will make alternative arrangements. And then I see how he treats my mom, and I'm like, I like this. And these people are empty nesters now. Like, they do just be chilled. He picks my mom up from work. Like, do just be I'm like, what, Mom, where did you? I need to come to.
She needs to impart.
She needs to lay some hands on me because
She needs
and
to. But
it's
that's a problem though now, Era.
and so like I was literally telling Adam this thing because she was like, why are you not there? I'm like, you people did this.
Yeah.
The standard is like this. So every time I even meet someone, I'm thinking, who he make the cut.
Wow.
Who make the cut?
Go ahead.
And so that's that, and also because my dad was like very hardworking. So like I said, I'm dealing with two men, past, present.
Yeah.
My biological father was very hardworking. I made sure that we were provided for. Like, we lacked nothing. And now that I'm an adult, I always say that my mom had the luxury when he was alive of having 5 kids, because he was with a man that assured her that
I can do this. I can take care of
this until he passes. But so I'm not having no 5 kids. But yeah.
Then she found your stepdad though.
Exactly. So hardworking, being like supportive. I remember I got admission when I got admission for my second master's. So the admission came in one hot afternoon. I'll never forget. I was in Lyon. I was sitting by the waterfront, and I'm like, "What am I? Am I going to go to this school or not?" And then my
but say mom, so she's
She's mentioned it so casually. Like in the first quarter, I was abroad.
in Lyon.
And then waterfront. Hey, bougie. Hello.
God.
Hey.
And so I'm like, am I going to go to the school or not? And then they were just about to come pick me up because I was heading home. So I sit in the car and I'm like, they're like, why? What's wrong with you? I said, I've gotten admission to this school for this guy. Like, so why? He said, I'm like, I don't know. Can we afford it? They look at me like, of course you're going. I mean, it's done. And I came to Ghana and went back, went to the school, like, and they've given me that opportunity, like anything, even basic traveling. My dad will be the one who texts me like, you haven't traveled in a while.
Hey,
I don't know what to call.
Hey, I tap into your anointing assignment.
I know. I'm like, my friends are the ones. They're like, oh, you haven't traveled anywhere. Are you sure you know?
Tap into your anointing. Hey,
I'm
Beauty
going.
Batali. If Beauty Batali call you, no say wahala.
You know, and I mean, I thank God for that. So the bar is high.
The bar
And I remember
It's too high.
I was having a decision about taking a job or something, and it was a whole thing, and I wasn't sure. And I'm like, if West push comes to shove, if this thing does well, I'll just call my dad.
And then
I'll just call my
I'll
daddy.
just call my dad, and then
Wow, daddy's girl must be nice.
I'm a big daddy's girl. So recently he started talking to me. We started talking about relationships and stuff, and like, okay, what are you looking for? Like, he's asking me like, what's the deal? Because your little sister has a boyfriend that we've known for years, and she's kind of like, what are you doing? And then he would be laughing at me at the end.
Are we all interested in this conversation?
Yeah.
So he said what? What is the delay? And then what
is the delay? What did you say?
And he told me before that.
That's what we are interested
He
in.
told me before that the money that he's saving for the wedding, I should do first before he spends it.
Tell him that he should send it. You use it. You invest it.
Like, I want to go to the Bahamas with a
Time that we do PhD.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, that's that. So we were talking, and I was asking him like, what's working for them, and
wait.
For him
She feels like we've forgotten that we're waiting.
Oh, we are waiting for the answer.
What was the delay? Yes.
So I gave him the criteria, and then he said this one, unless we put
So
it
what
in
was
Google.
the criteria?
This one we have to put in ChatGPT.
I'm
Create
telling you.
a man
My father told me that
with the following
things that I'm
standards.
saying, unless I put it in Google, so that we can find
This
the
one,
guy.
unless you put it in ChatGPT. Yes.
But what I'm interested in the criteria.
Oh my God! No,
No, tell us
now
some.
come back.
No.
No,
to
Sinam doesn't want to be.
No.
We are waiting.
Don't come to me.
I mean, the reason I'm asking you is that apart from the sabi, there's also the fact that I want somebody who is listening to walk away with the fact that you may not. Your father. It took years for your father to become who he was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the chances of you finding your father in that already made way
It's very hard.
exactly.
That's true.
So how do you look for the things that indicate that he could become?
If I talk right now, go to hell.
Talk and go because we are tired of you.
If I talk right now, go to hell.
What do you want to say?
Say what you want to say.
It's okay, it's
Before I
okay.
come in.
No, it's okay.
I mean, I'll just say
When you
that.
come back, I'll
So
say
the
it.
questions, I asked certain questions, and it's funny enough that I've been on. I remember a friend chaperone the date I was, and she was like, the feedback was the guy was that I was intimidating him with
the questions.
that I was
Why?
asking.
Is it an interview?
It's necessary,
exactly
though.
because if I go on a date with you, it's an interview. I'm trying to find out if you are qualified for the job or not. I'm trying to hire you, bro.
Ooh, I'm hiring you.
I'm hiring
for
you,
the
bro.
position of husband.
Exactly. I need to know that.
What's other questions?
Yeah, so I'm asking about kids. I'm seeing how your money is, what the future plan is, what you want to do. Do you like to travel? All that.
But those are necessary questions.
Necessary
They're not-
questions. I mean, what does questions like? What
What's
does your marriage?
childhood trauma? Have you
Exactly.
dealt with whatever?
Somebody was hitting on me. I just advised them that you need to go to therapy. It's what you need to do because I can smell the trauma from afar. I have been to therapy and done some work, and you are not about to mess up what I have going on.
Bougie.
Yeah.
So I ask certain questions, and people be like, and okay, I'm not going to say this because I don't want to go to hell. But most guys, let me just say, some guys in this life, I don't want to say Accra, yeah, they haven't figured out what they want
And
in
who
women.
they are.
They are
The
exactly.
self-awareness level in
It's
Ghana
very low.
is
Like she said, the
currently
bar is
hovering
under the
around
ground.
1%.
Wow.
So they haven't figured it out. And I am someone who has kind of sort of know what I'm looking for. And I'm not saying that you should be like my dad, right? But then I have been taught and I've seen what love looks like if it's done the right way. I've seen how a man being present in the life of his kids, supporting his wife looks like. And knowing the plans and things that I want to do, I'm going to need you to support me. I don't want you to feel like we're in competition.
Yeah.
And most guys feel like you're in competition. Like, and I've met people who wanted to subdue me so that they can feel like, we're not going to do that. I'm going to call my dad.
Ain't nobody
And
got
he
time
going to
for that.
handle you.
Wow.
Yeah. And my brothers. So it's the whole thing.
Even me, I'm even afraid. Even me, I'm afraid. But Islam, what about you?
I think that my father, when it comes to his marriage and the relationship, there were parts of it that I wanted and there were parts of it that I didn't want. I liked the very present person who would ask what's going on with you in school, who would take care of his kids, and who, if he was going to delay, if he was going to go to church, he would call and let you know that I'm not coming home on time.
Yeah.
You know, he was that person. Because, again, he likes to be right all the time. So he would try to do
the right thing so that he has the moral
so that he
authority to be able to.
Wow. Yes. So that there's that side, there's that part of him. And so there's that reliability and predictability that I knew. Right? In terms of his routine and in terms of his schedules. But then in terms of his emotional side, it wasn't predictable. You didn't know when he was in a good mood. You didn't know. And he always had a straight face.
Okay.
And you wouldn't know if he was in a good mood. And the only time you know he was happy was when he probably engaged you in a chat. But he's naturally a quiet person. And would rather go and sit out and be looking into the darkness, into the quiet, alone. And he was a loner in that. And I think he didn't find a way to integrate himself to the person that he was marrying so that the marriage would flow where they could. Again, they were working with the information that they had. They were working with the knowledge that they had. So it's probably up to me to notice what went wrong and ways by which I will not repeat some of these things.
I get that.
Yeah. So from him I learned what not to do.
Okay.
You know, contrary to Aram's story,
where you saw
what you should
saw
do,
what,
but I saw what we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know, I saw who I shouldn't be with.
Yeah.
Who I shouldn't.
which is just as valuable.
Absolutely. And then when she
Just,
finishes, I'm going to say something.
like I saw that I don't want somebody who physically felt like I looked better than them and so it bothered them that I looked nice. You know, like there was always this part of him looking at me and I'm like, this one that you are looking this way, won't you go out and somebody's gonna call you? Like I did, like that's insecurity. I didn't want that in
a
my
partner.
partner. That silent treatment and that unnecessary quietness and being silent to punish somebody and the aggression that could come later on and the constant insistence that they're right. Those were things that I didn't want. And also physically, I also saw what I didn't want in my partner. I knew that I don't want a short man. because I saw that my sister is short as a result of my dad being short.
Wow.
You just had to go
So
there.
I told you if I say it, I'll go to hell.
It's fine.
I told you.
It's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have preferences.
Yeah,
And
so
as
like
you
I
should.
saw what I didn't want, and then of course I also saw what I
What you
wanted.
wanted.
So it ended up in me picking somebody who is alike to him. I recently just told my partner that he dresses a lot like my dad. You know, I not in terms of even what he would wear officially, but unofficially he would. Maybe it's men who have the same kind of clothing.
What does he wear unofficially?
I mean, the whole shirts, the t-shirts and shorts, and like my father was a very short person. Like every time he gets home,
Shorts.
he will change everything to shorts, and he'll be
Okay.
in shorts.
Okay, so
and
he
I
was a
could see,
shorts
yeah, he was a shorts and like polo with the neck Lacoste and all those things, and I could see a lot of that kind of fashion sense in what Crispy does, and so I'm like, okay, in a way, I picked somebody who had similar traits as him, but I think that fundamentally I picked somebody who was what I wanted at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what I was going to say, one thing that I didn't like about my biological father, and I was actually having a conversation with someone about it today, he didn't have balance.
Okay.
He just worked himself into the grave. So for me, when I meet people who are so hardworking, and I actually told a certain guy that I bad him a story. I was like, let me tell you this story about this man who did this, that worked so hard, then he died. And I ended the story that guy was my dad. Don't be that guy. And he didn't have balance, and that's one thing I didn't like. He just worked. He didn't, like I said, my mom had to come break his schedule just so we could fit in. So even though he was providing, he was doing all those things, he didn't have a social life. So for me, it's by finding a balance. We're working hard. We need to make time to rest. We need to make time to take care of our health. We need to make time to take care of ourselves. So when I'm with someone and they tell me that I don't want to talk about something, or I'm dealing with this, what is going to... So I like, you as a person need to know what makes you happy. I am just topping, like whipped cream or icing on a cake. You need to be a whole person. You can't depend on me for your happiness. So finding balance. So you need to have your own friends, so that if I go out with my friends,
how, like you say it so easily,
But it's not easy.
it's the getting to the point of like acknowledging and understanding and knowing that your happiness is your responsibility.
Yes.
Growing up, the picture that was painted for
Wasn't
us
that.
was that our happiness was found when we found somebody who made us happy.
That's true.
I told you I went to therapy and learning. And listen, I wasn't all this refined person. Okay, I was very jacked up in the past until I went to see someone to talk about my trauma. Because one thing they don't tell you about losing your father early in life affected me majorly in my teens. I was looking for love and validation from the boys that I was seeing back then.
Exactly.
In the past, I used to be very like people pleasing because I don't want you to leave. And then the other side of it is I became very nonchalant. Like, if you're not here, I'm good, because he left.
And
So I'm thinking,
I survived.
you're going to leave, so I'm not going to latch onto this so that when you leave, I don't get hurt.
I get that.
So there were, so there was a lot of that trauma that I had to work on. And not being a person pleaser, and understanding that I can be whole on my own. And if I'm in a relationship with you and you leave, I'm going to be okay. All those things I had to work through. So when I'm saying all these things, it's I've been through the ringer with it.
Yeah.
The last time I was on a couple of years ago talking about fathers, I was crying, and then there was a therapist on the show. She said, "You need to go to therapy."
On Strong Assassin?
No, it was on Home Affairs.
Okay.
And the person was like, "You need to go," and I didn't go till a couple of years ago to actually unearth and speak
work
things
through
and work
and-
through this. So
I'm glad you said that, because you sound good. And somebody listening will say, well, you don't understand.
You don't
Or your
understand
life
what
was
I'm going
rosy.
through.
So I'm glad you said that, so that people see that, okay, this is what the other side looks like. When you work through your issues or you work through your trauma, this is what it looks like. The strength, the independence, the standards, the not wanting to settle.
When you start working on yourself, and you go on that whole self-discovery, self-development journey, and you're reading books and you're learning about you're learning about yourself in a way that you didn't think was possible. You get to the point where that's why I keep emphasizing on knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, you can't give yourself fully to somebody. You can't love somebody fully. So it all comes down to knowing yourself. And again, yes, I had to know all these things about my dad that I didn't want because I did the work or because I'm doing the work. You know, so just look at it in a way of, what can I learn from my dad? And what can I learn to do and what can I learn not to do?
And also try to understand.
Exactly.
Talk to your mom, talk to your dad. If
get
there's
context,
opening, and like, why is this? Because like, there are people who's, let's say, like, I see my parents, they sit and they're just watching TV. And when I spend time with my parents, I realize that my talking plenty, I inherited it from my mom, but my dad is dealing with it very well. I'm like, bro, how do you do this? Because we talk a lot.
And
then he just like, he's there and then he takes it in. I'm like, I need to lay hands on some people.
Yeah, but then now obviously in your mind you're like, okay, this kind of man exists. So where are you?
Find him.
Like, you can't tell me nothing. But then I feel like not to maybe play with your standards, but if some people could have the potential to actually be that person, but for now they may be in the rough. So I feel like a bit of patience,
grace,
understanding, giving grace and kindness to people you meet. Maybe the person checks 80% of your box, 60% of your boxes, and you're like, okay, I am willing to work.
Or they
with
just
this
have green flags as opposed to red
exactly,
flags.
or they just have a learning heart. Like they are not.
And for me, I would just
stone.
Say that. Because I was able to work, like I said, I was a diamond in the rough. So if I was able to do it, you can do it. The question is, are you willing to do the work? It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So for you, when you meet a guy, you're thinking, okay, you may not be perfect, or your red flags may not be too many, but are you willing to
do the work?
And do you have the self-awareness? And that's the problem.
I was just going to say that
people don't have
self-awareness.
They don't
awareness.
They're like, people feel like, if I say alcohol, like, what's wrong with it? Basic. This is basic
communication.
Basic communication. You don't understand. Oh, my friend.
Wow.
You are cut.
You didn't make the cut.
Just like that.
No. Like, that's a non-stop. We're not about to do that. Like, basic. This is basic. Oh, this. And when you don't do what you say, oh, I apologize. Or explain. Make it make sense to me. But you just be like, yo, like, is that why you're angry?
And that is why when you find some people in the comment section attacking, I'm like, can you really look at what you're saying? Like the thing that you're
Step
typing
outside of yourself and
just look at it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the time to send out your Father's Day wishes, and then we're pretty much done.
I'm going to share this link with my dad and my mom, and
I'm sure they'll enjoy it.
They will. Michel Guichard, je t'aime.
You can finish the show and then you sign now. Say,
I love you so much, and thank you for
please
everything.
start again. The line was bad.
Je t'aime.
Jésus, j'avais, je t'aime.
Nous, avant, savez. Yes.
Why are you guys like
the line was bad, please.
Jean-Michel Guichard, je t'aime beaucoup. Merci pour toutes les choses que tu fais pour moi.
Okay.
English for no.
Yes.
If I could speak anyway, I'll just go straight to it because I know where I'm going with this one.
This one. Oh, bluff one. No.
No.
All right. Just sending a big happy Father's Day to my dad, Kwabatali. I really appreciate everything that he's done. He's done for me. Like, investing in my education. I think that's the biggest gift he gave me, was investing in my education and supporting me. He paid my fees every time. He'll be there, like, and even though he'll pay my fees, I don't know how I go to work or what I want to go to school. He has paid.
He started with part payments, full payments, the envelopes, everything.
In a white envelope, and he will seal it, and he will put your name on it. And every day before you go to school, he'll pray for us. I mean, like, it was more of him showing us what care was, and I really, really appreciated that. I am grateful to him. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially the single dads and the stepdads who are doing an amazing job. This year we're going to celebrate you well.
We'll pay for all your things on Sunday.
And it won't be about boxers and singlets this year. We're going to try and do much better. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And we'll be back next week here on Strong SRC. My name is Anima Animado. Thanks to Esinam and Aram for joining us. And thank you to you for staying tuned in. Have a great evening. And I will be back on the radio tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock on the Super Morning Show. Stay tuned in.